Hello. You're on your phone.
Yes, can you see me? I couldn't get my laptop to work. I have cell service that works better today. For some reason, my internet's working, but just very slow. I don't know.
It's the hazards of living overseas. You don't even want to know. I was trying to do my group coaching when I was down in Mahawal, which is like this little coastal village town near to like the border of Belize.
Uh-huh.
And like there, if it gets windy, the internet in the entire town goes out. So we were
I think the problem here is,
yeah, we were using like my mom's portable router to like boost the internet.
oh wow. I think the problem here is that I've run out of the fast data, and then it makes it slow, but it's still working. And I think I need to like top it off or something. So
Fun how that
I can't at all. I can only see you, even though I'm not even on that internet. I'm on my phone. I don't know why.
Oh,
anyways.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
hey, let's
you on?
Yep, there you are.
You could see. You couldn't see.
Now I can see you. Now I can see you.
Oh, I thought you could see me before. All right. Sorry. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. How are you?
I was on my phone. I'm doing good.
There's just a bit of a delay.
Oh, okay.
It'd be great for we got to slow down and I got to give you a couple seconds in between. How are things?
Yeah, things are good. Yeah.
All settled in?
It's feeling that way more and more. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, well, we'll pick up where we came in last time. And I have a little, I looked over the notes from our last session, and because we kind of got cut off, right? When your electricity went out. These are.
And it really hasn't happened that much. It's so random that it happened like at that moment.
I've had that in countries I've lived in before. It's annoying. Hey, but so what we were talking about was we went through some of your challenges that you've been dealing with, right? Like that struggling with PTSD, being sensitive.
Yeah, that's really loud. Stop, please. Sorry.
So the struggling with the PTSD, like being sensitive to sound and loud noise and the screaming, that it was really situational as well, the struggle, because of the being in the small apartment in New York and not having support there and having, right? Like this is why, right? We're having a refresher of everything so we don't have to start all over from scratch and we can pick it up. But then you guys broke up and now you're here and things are going better. Huh? Oh,
now we're working, thankfully. So
that's okay, right? Like you mentioned this before. You said, hey, he's coming here. We may work on things.
Yeah, but it's even more so now as we've been actually FaceTiming, and he's still planning to do his whole journey because it's his work is involved, and then but I'm happy with it. It's feeling good, and I think the space will be good for all of us.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for us. You guys, I'm on a call. Okay.
Yeah. And then what you mentioned, you were like, hey, things are going better, but what I'd still really like to have is those tools so that I can peacefully navigate the situations that are going to come up in the future, right? Because we know that like kids will always throw us a curveball. There's always going to be something coming up. Also, how to support. I remember you mentioning like your son being sensitive and the crying, and like how to deal with that when you are getting into those moments of being overwhelmed, right, or stressed out.
Yes.
So that was more like, hey, where you were looking things forward that you could navigate peacefully was the essence of it. Did I get it right? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
And another thing I was trying to be really mindful of today was, I get up in the morning and I'm like in a really good mood, and like then things go south, and like I go back and I'm trying to be like, what happened? Like, and I noticed that I feel really disrespected sometimes by like, I know like they're just kids and they don't really know like what exactly is respectful, but I take it really personal, and it triggers me when like my kids don't respect my time. Like, for example, I'll make them breakfast and have them all straight. And the moment I sit down, it's like, I need this. And it's like, well, when do I get to sit down and have breakfast? This is just an example of this also happening.
Yeah.
Or like, I'll be specific and ask them a question and they're so involved in something else that they don't answer. And then later they're like, oh, I wanted that thing. And I'm like, but I asked you and you said no. And now I have to take my time that I was going to do. And it's like, I do not handle that well at all. Like I get irate about it. Like, I feel like I have to harshly place boundaries. And I feel like that's from like my childhood and stuff. Like I force boundaries now because I'm on a call. Okay. And I feel like it's too harsh. Like the way I'm always trying to be like, I'm absolutely not doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like something loving or not like that they're asking for. Evie, I can't right now. Okay. I'm on a call.
Yeah. Yeah. Clear and very recognizable. I hardly ever get to sit down to eat.
Yeah. It's like the moment I sit down to eat, they're ready for seconds.
Yep.
Every time you think that, or if you try to eat first, it goes wrong. Or if you try to eat second, it goes, there's no like, right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So that triggers you, right? So you're talking about the feeling disrespectful, taking it personally, that you're having a good mood. And I love it because I hear you being reflective, right? That you're like, yeah, wake up and my mood is fine. And where does the shit go wrong? Like what's happening here?
Like I have to harshly place boundaries, like a survival technique that like I can't let go of or something.
How does that work though? What is the reaction you get back?
So the first thing that happened this morning was I'm making their cereal and my daughter comes up and she's trying to show me like a toy or something. And I'm like, I literally need to make breakfast. Like I can't do this right now. Like because it's very hard for me to like do both. And I'm just trying to get breakfast made. And like, instead of like stopping and just doing that, because it would have been quicker to have just acknowledged her and then did it. I literally took it to an extreme and was like, I am absolutely not doing this. I'm going to do the breakfast. I'm not going to do it. Like, you're not going to force me to do it. And then I'm like, it's so stupid when you look back, because I could have just been like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And like answered your question or whatever. But it's like in the moment, I was so triggered by it. Like, you can't see them literally making.
Yeah, but this is just give yourself credit that this is already awesome awareness, right?
Yeah.
That you're aware of like, hey, in the moment, or even like right afterwards, hey, I'm aware that something is going wrong here. It actually would have been quicker to just stop and recognize. Like already thinking that that's a possibility is a first step in the right direction, right? Because think of this as like those incremental shifts we talk about, right? Like on the last day of the challenge, like every little bit, like maybe you were totally unaware that you were having triggers and you had no idea that you got up in a good mood and something happened. And now you're right? That you're creating that. And maybe you were aware before and it just refreshed it, right? But now that paying active attention to it, you'll shift that time frame earlier and earlier. And you'll be like, wait, we've been here before. Because guess what? It's not going to be the first breakfast or the last breakfast. It's going to be interrupted by something. And you'll get the practice again and again to be able to start responding differently or taking a little bit softer approach or a different, right? A response in the moment or immediately correcting, right? So the first step would be like, okay, not after the fact, but hey, I softened my reaction a little bit. Oh, then I actually take a moment and glance real quickly and say, hey, honey, I need to go back to this. And then right? So it's just, and you're going to find the way that works for you too, because absolutely our kids do need boundaries. They will. And when and this is a thing with parents who are themselves very spontaneous and love to just do whatever in the moment. And that's how our lives used to be.
You don't need to do that. You can go somewhere. Yeah, in a minute. Okay, sorry.
So this is the thing, like when we ourselves are very spontaneous or used to living our lives very spontaneously and doing whatever we want, whenever we want, the arrival of children and all their needs and wants and things, like it builds up And then we're struggling to try and maintain that life that we had before and balance the taking care of needs, and understanding, wait, can I still be spontaneous? How do I build my life, right? Like the traveling, for example, like not every day is the same.
Yeah.
So how to build in like that consistency that the kids can really get that feeling of safety, because a lot of the anxiousness, the fear, any sort of clingy, like crying stuff, a lot of the time that can come from not feeling safe.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's anyway, great. I digressed, right? Like, so boundaries are definitely supportive both to our kids and to ourselves. I'm a definite proponent of setting boundaries. So I hear like how to set boundaries is something that is also an area that you'd like to work on.
Yeah.
Right? Like in a way that's not pushing them away, that's not threatening,
There's some sort of trigger with me and boundaries and how harsh I feel like I have to set them with my kids. Like, I don't know if sometimes I feel like I lack it with other people, but I don't know. I don't know.
But
I refuse.
So the triggers, the boundaries, the triggers, but also identifying where things go wrong and being able to switch things earlier, right? So more timely, like putting a finger on what's going on before it gets to the point where you're exploding.
Yes.
Yeah. Early identifying. Cool. Any other situations that are coming up for you? You're like, hey, breakfast and this and that.
It's always the same.
Yeah.
Like say I put them to bed and I give them a hug and a kiss and like everything else. And the moment I walk out, my son will be like, I want a hug and a kiss. And I'm like, I just did that. Like, but it's like, in the moment, all I can think is, why is he like taking my time away from me? Like, I did what I'm supposed to do, and now I want to go have me time, and he's trying to call me back in, like, to do the same thing I just did. And like, I don't know, I want to, like, he just wants a hug and a kiss, you know?
Yep.
Or like he'll forget at that moment that now he's thirsty, and or whatever it is. After I've laid them down, it's like now they have a need, and it's like during the time that I was going to take for myself, and like a recurring thing. Like that's a big one for me. Always, yeah. I'm trying to meet their needs, and then the moment I sit down, something else comes up. Like I don't take that well.
Yeah.
You did?
Exactly, like having a call. Cool. So I've got boundaries, triggers, being able to peacefully navigate situations, early identification of triggers. But what I also hear is that you need time for yourself and that self-care, or just right, like that peaceful time.
I've definitely been working on that since I've been here. That's been a lot better compared to where we were. Evie, I'm on a call.
Yeah. In what way is it better?
Because I've had more help here. Like my kids, they actually go to friends' houses and play. And even when we're here, it's like a bigger space with different areas that they can play, and they're not like right on top of me. So I feel like I can do when they're around, and compared to when we were in the tiny apartment. Plus my boyfriend's not around, so they're a little less like fighting for my attention, and they kind of just leave me alone more, like when I'm trying to do. So it's like a different dynamic lately.
Yeah.
They're about little school here. It's like, leave her alone. That's her balloon. Leave her alone. No, we'll play with anything else. Sorry.
Okay, I have it happen too, right? I can't walk away from mine for sometimes a minute. Like,
Yeah.
It happens. It's also part of the sibling dynamic, right?
I was.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So if you're looking at that, you're like, hey, this is where I'm at right now, right? Being the triggers and the sensitivity and the having to set really harsh boundaries. Yeah. Do you need a moment?
That I'm about to put it outside. No, it's hers. It's hers. Play with something else right now, B. I'm on a call. You're not letting me do it. Hey.
Yeah. If you need, take a moment.
No, Evie, do not touch the curtains. No, I think we're okay now. You can't touch curtains, sorry. You have a balloon, play with it.
I turned my back. I was cooking pancakes this morning and my 4-year-old grabbed a Sharpie off the counter, and our table in this apartment is permanently damaged.
Oh my God, my kids have drawn all over a couch once, and it was colored pencil, but it took me like 5 hours to scrub it all off.
Yeah. Hey, so
all because they were mad at my attention and they did. That's what he
I
told
just
me.
likes drawing with Sharpies and doesn't know that like the permanent marker will not come off.
Right.
But he also does the ones when he's mad, right? Like it's their way of getting attention. So I see you've got your attention divided. You good?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. It must be challenging to do this as well, right? Like you have no one else in the house that's extra support, and it's nice that they can go out and play, but I can imagine it's nighttime there, right? Like
nighttime, usually they would be on their tablets like during a call, but they've had them a little more lately. So they're like less intrigued by them. So as I was saving those for like when I needed a call, and they would like never interfere because they were so happy to have their tablet. But now they're like kind of,
it's worn off.
Yeah.
And what I hear as well is, so I'm looking, we were talking about your challenges, right? Like where you want to go with this. And then, so what I look at is I'm like, hey, where are the gaps between where you're at right now and where you want to be? Right. So that's why I was summarizing, right, with your boundaries and like working on the boundaries, working on the triggers. I also hear like a clear need for the tools, right?
Yes.
Like these situations right now that are happening there in the background, right? Like how do you navigate when the two kids are fighting over one thing, or when they're pestering each other, or the breakfast situations, the bedtime situations, all those very typical moments of the day. And also the feeling of you want to go from the feeling disrespected to be able to be more in harmony together.
Yes, that sounds perfect. Yes.
Cool. How long do you think it would take?
A month. 6 months.
Ambitious, right? Look, I'm just looking at where, hey, because some people say like, oh my God, that will take years, right? Some people are like, oh, I want it tomorrow. And we look for kind of like, hey, what can we look at? What is a good time frame for you? All right?
And I said, wait, when I'm done with my call, okay? No, it's not too long. Okay.
This is one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments where you could say, hey, no. This is, hey, Kelsey, this is one of those moments where you could say, hey, I need a minute, right? You go and you handle them, or we can spend the rest of the call also constantly being interrupted. I'm okay if you want to take a minute and go and get them settled and take care of a need.
Yeah, but it's like I don't even have any faith that what I do is gonna fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no like tool. I feel like I don't even know what to do in the situation.
Yeah.
Other than to threaten was usually what it is I threaten that they're gonna lose something, or I'm not gonna do something that they want. And that's the only thing I know to do in those situations. Yeah. Hey, can you please turn that down? I'm on a call. And then I'm not talking to you. Okay.
Yeah. That sounds tough.
Yeah.
Because I hear it. You don't like that. Like you're like, I hear myself threatening my children and I just don't want to be that mom.
Yeah, and I just know, well, mostly I know that it's not really gonna work. Like, well, it might work like right then, but it doesn't work, you know. So, but that's the only thing I know. I feel like that's probably how I was raised, and like being grounded, stuff taken from me, or I'm gonna miss out on things I wanted to do, which I did a lot.
Yeah, and did it create a closer relationship or make you learn the lesson?
I don't think so. No. But then it's like it becomes like this life or death feeling of like either I do that or I don't get the thing that I'm trying to do or whatever it is. It's like that's where I say I'm missing the tools. Like I have no idea. Like I feel like they can hear this call and that's why they keep coming up with things that they need. And even if I fix the thing that they need, they're going to come up with something else. And that's what I think is going on.
Yeah, got it. Got it. So that's a very practical, like, this is a really great practical example, right? Like, you're like, I'm on a call, how to get off, how to support my kids, to understand that this is important to me, how to support them in whatever they need right now to feel secure, and so that it's a win-win, instead of this, like, either it's them or it's me, like this very black and white.
It turns to that.
Yeah.
I guess they feel they're missing out on something.
Yeah.
Because we weren't doing anything prior. They weren't wanting my attention prior, you know. It's, they think that they're missing. I don't know.
It's also a survival mechanism. You are their sole source of love and food. Like literally from a biological perspective, if their parents were not there, they would die. Right? Like, yeah. So deeply wired that like, if my parent is distracted from me, like I need to make sure that their attention, so that if some danger comes along, like they will know how to save me. Right? Like it's not, and the attention is not it's hard for us to understand, but it's really not malicious, and it's not meant to be like, oh, at this exact moment, of course, exactly when I wanted to do this is when they need the attention. It's not at all. It's just a trigger, right? Also for them. So,
yeah.
Yeah, totally cool. And I hear a lot of awareness, right? Like you're like logically you're aware. Emotionally, it's hard to flip a switch and to start doing things differently.
Right. I just watch myself. It's so weird. It's like I watch myself even as I'm doing it. It's like I'm aware. But yeah, I still feel the lack of tools, I guess, is what it is, or the emotions overpower.
Well, yeah, it's one is tools and another is also the strategies, right? Like this is also the strategy call, like the strategy of like, hey, when these things happen, what am I going to do? Right? To have that plan of action before you're getting into it. And you've already made some great steps. Like I said, the awareness is really like people can go through their whole lives completely unaware of how they react to other people, how they behave towards their kids. I hear it. Unfortunately, that increased awareness, you hear it in other people. I hear all the threats to kids on the street. Like, if you don't do this, we're going home now, right? Like we're literally dragging their kids behind them, right? Huh?
Yeah, I did that today on the street too.
Yeah.
It's like, if you start crying right now, we're going home. Like I shut down emotions a lot.
Yeah.
That's, I told you that on the last call, which is another thing I don't feel good about. But it's like, I just can't handle it or something is how I start to react to it. It's like, no, I can't. No, like I just, and then I just threaten until they stop.
Yeah, which is a temporary fix until the next time.
Yeah.
But you get then left with a feeling of guilt because you know there's a different way to do it. You're looking at me like, did you hear it? Or was there a delay?
There's a little bit of delay, but I think I still heard it. Like, am I left with a feeling of guilt? Yeah, that's what happens for sure. Guilt and like a little bit of hopelessness, just because it's like, you know, like, will I ever get it right?
Yeah, cool. So why make a change now, right? Like this is why is now the moment? Because I mean, we got in contact a couple months ago, and you mentioned you were like, hey, I wanted to start working with a parent coach, right, in January. And I get that that was in that situation, right? Like it was really like at a peak, but I'm curious, like, is it then, are you still in the same position? You're like, yes, I want to do something now about it, or you're like, hey, no, I'm okay right now?
I think that situation was just what triggered a lot of my awareness, because, you know, I was in that relationship and we were in that apartment, and I'm like realizing like, wow, I'm really not handling things well, like at all. And then, did I tell you I'm pregnant? I don't know. That's a big part of it, is like, I'm pregnant and I'm going to be having another baby, and I want to like have the tool. Like, I don't want to do stuff all over again.
Yeah.
That's another reason I'm really glad, like, we're like working things out.
Did he know?
About 4 months. Yeah, he knows.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a
So that's,
badass. You're a badass. You're in Egypt with your 2 kids by yourself and you're pregnant. Like,
and I'm planning to be here at home.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, is that, you know, I'm having a new baby come and I want to like do things the best way that I can.
Mommy, you don't forget your birthday cakes to babies too.
You have to do what?
Give birthday cakes to babies.
You have to give birthday cakes to babies?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So put their bread into the cake.
Oh, okay.
I saw a TikTok about that, and the strawberry went on his forehead.
Yeah, okay.
We do celebrate when babies are born. We do celebrate when babies are born. In the
Since my
Netherlands, we have little cakes that you, whenever a baby is born, that when you get visitors, you hand out little biscuits with like the little, they're like little seeds on them with that anise seeds covered in candy that are either blue and white if it's a boy, or pink and white if it's a girl. And that's what you serve to all the visitors to celebrate like the arrival of a baby.
I've never heard that. Now I'm thinking maybe we'll get a cake for the birth.
I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool idea. Okay, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right.
Also, being in the relationship and having him kind of witness my bad parenting, or my struggles parenting. I'm talking. Wow. It was just another level of like awareness. Is like, I have to like do something. I can't just keep letting these tactics that I'm using continue.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Amazing.
everyone.
It's very proactive, because look, you see you see what happened with when you made the change, right? With a relationship and living in the small apartment. And a baby is also going to be a big change for you.
Yeah, like my hormones have not been great lately. That's been a
anyway,
factor. Entirely blame that, because I'm still falling back on what I do when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
So it's just, even if I'm stressed more, that's not the reason. Like, I'm acting the way I am, you know?
Yeah. But it's also, I think, like a great moment, because the baby arriving is also going to be a change for your kids, right? If you think like the change to another country and to have a partner in your life, but also the fact that there's going to be like another sibling is also a change for them. Right? And that will trigger, by the way, with them, behavior changes. So I don't know, is there a delay?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I heard most of that. There's going to be another sibling. Well, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're excited, but you know, it'll probably be challenges. Let's play it over there, you guys. Get it. Pick it up and take it over there. They have a balloon.
So then I get why it's good for now. And you mentioned you hadn't worked with a coach before, right? No, you have not.
No, I only have a therapist.
Yeah.
Like a regular therapist. Yeah.
Cool. What made you think of a coach then?
Because I wanted something more geared towards parenting.
Yeah.
Specifically. And not just overall everything. You know. So when I talk to her, I don't really talk as much about the parenting. We talk more about my relationship and like other stuff.
Cool. All right, so we're looking at closing gaps, and well, I'm thinking that those gaps should probably be closed before the arrival of baby number 3, right?
It would be great, but at least some progress, you know. I'm really great with babies. Like, so I have a good like year or two of like that baby being like treated like perfectly. Got so much patience. It's like the moment I start feeling like they're purposefully disrespecting me or something, it's like it changes. So weird. That's broken. That's not gonna blow up.
Yeah, but the baby is not the main focus. Then it's gonna also be like how the relationship is with the other.
Gonna have the kids, the older kids, yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly that when you want to focus or take care, like of someone that literally cannot survive without you taking care of them.
Like I do this thing, yes.
Just someone who just went through having a baby with 2 older kids, like that's also the dynamic, right? 3 different needs, 3 different kids. How do I take care of myself and the attention and the partner too, and my hormones and my changing body. So it's a big change. Cool. So I've been asking a lot of questions. I'm going to turn it over to you. Like, where do we go from here?
I'm not sure. Do you do like coaching packages?
Yeah.
Or how do you, what exactly? I know you do like a program, you have like a long program.
Yeah, it's 3 months. You want to, shall I share
3
a
month
bit?
program. Is that different than coaching, or is that what you mean when you say you do coaching?
So I do just one. I keep it simple, right? Like I either do the free or the program, right? So like the challenge is free. I have a master class that's free. I give workshops, that sort of stuff. These calls, they're all part of me supporting others. And then I have the 3-month program, right? Connect. So it's about connecting to ourselves, to our partners, to our kids. So it is a little broader than parenting, but within that, there's a very specific, you also get my Tools for Talking program, which was a full month program I ran on communication tools with kids. And those, because most of the ladies in the program have done it, but not everyone, those topics come back around. So it's a combination of group, like we did like with the group sessions, give some content and then there's space for questions. And I also do then as part of that one-on-one.
Okay.
Right? Because you can handle like, and I'm very much attuned to the group, right? So whatever, when in the one-on-one calls, I hear a bunch of the same things coming up, then I'll create a session that's like tuned into where the group is at. And you saw, it was really weird, but this alignment happens when everyone was dealing with, right? Like the triggers, then we create something that is to support you the best where you are. And no matter what though I do with a group session, I'm never going to be able to get into the exact detail of your particular situation in that group call. So in that 3 months, you get every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks would be a one-on-one as well.
Okay.
Right. And then assessment moments as well. And there's a Facebook group. So all the previous sessions are in there.
A different Facebook.
Yeah, it's a private one only for clients. So it's not all the materials, right? So all the recordings from the previous sessions, all the bonus materials, all the course materials from Tools for Talking, any of the downloads that I've ever offered anywhere, like extra resources, are all there.
Okay.
And then there's also a community aspect, right? That if you're like, hey, in between, I have a question and maybe someone else has gone through this and has a great tip for me. Like,
don't play the game. Don't play this game right now. Hey, I can't hear. Hey, get on your tablet, please. Play your tablet a little bit. Okay, thank you. Sorry, there's just like animals in here right now.
I live in a jungle. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm used to, like, I work only with moms. So I'm so used to like the interruptions, and I have them sometimes too. So like, this is part of the deal. I can handle it. It's really good for my focus, I've noticed. I've really like, okay, I have to be able to pick up exactly where we're at again. So there's the Facebook group, which also means like there's a question thread, for example. So if in between the sessions, which are every week, you have a question that comes up or something, you can throw it in there without having to worry, oh, am I going to remember that for the week session, so that I can make sure that we handle that, right? Like immediately. They're all recorded, all the sessions, and put in the group within 24 hours. So if you miss one, or if it's right, something happens with kids, life, you can always watch them again.
Yeah.
And if you know you're going to miss one, you can send in your questions and I'll handle them in the session. I'm like, hey, Kelsey asked a question about this. Hey, Kelsey, this is the answer to your question. So you're never going to go more than a week without getting your question answered, right? Or getting that support you need. So you're not struggling alone. That's really like the focus of it as well, is that you get those touch points, you get the support, so that you can continue moving forward, right? Like, of course, there's going to be moments where you're going to come back or things aren't going to go so well, but that it's the recovery is quicker. And because of that, then you get really in the habit of, I'm integrating this. I'm hearing everyone else doing it. I know I'm going to show up there and I'm going to need to share like, hey, what was a win for me this week? So like the consciousness goes to a whole different level with the accountability of a group as well.
Ask me. Sorry.
Open the door.
She could open it. Finally got it. Ah. Anyways, yes. So
That's in essence, it's group coaching every week, one-on-one every 2 weeks, and full-on access to the Facebook group as well with all the resources.
and there's like a little, is it a course? It's just,
Yeah, but the course is like, it's live. So the extra course, yes. So that's part of it, right? Like the Tools for Talking course, all the video materials are in there. That was a course that like I offered once as a bonus thing, but that's a course I used to give live that's been integrated into this. Right?
okay, so
still like,
but it's
yeah.
okay, it's like, it's kind of like your challenge, but over 3 months, and
Yeah.
it's like, but it's set like we talk about a different point or whatever.
Yep. And you get the one-on-one and you get
And
the
then
right, and the group, like the recordings for the challenge were available for that 1 week, and then that's done. Right? You can go back at any point and have them. Yeah, the
Okay, I
challenge is that it's meant to give you a taste of like, hey, this is how I work. This is the sort of stuff you can expect. I don't really hold back in the challenge. Any question that gets answered, I answer, right? It's just like, I can't give 3 months worth of content in 5 days, obviously. But the sessions are also a little bit longer. They're an hour and a half. An hour
Okay.
for content and a half an hour like for Q&A, but they're an hour and a half max. So they're a bit longer than the challenge sessions were.
Okay. Okay.
How does it sound?
Yeah. That sounds like it would, you said it's 3 months.
Yeah.
You like, is it like one of those things that you have certain starting points, or people join whenever?
No, it's, yeah. So the commitment is 3 months, right? The commitment is 3 months, but it's a rolling program, right? So people can join whenever they want. But they need to commit to 3 months, simply because I ran a month program, and I've had people ask me like, oh, can you just give me one-off coaching sessions? Or I just want, like 3 sessions over a year. And I don't do that because it's not supportive to you in making the progress, right? Like I ran them 1 month, and the thing that came out of that was they were just starting to get into the hang of everything and really applying. And then we stopped the course, and I checked in later, and they were not using them as consistently anymore. And you need a little bit more time.
Right.
So you can join whenever, but the minimum commitment is the 3 months. Huh?
To create the habit and actually stick to it and apply it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And it's also for the consistency of the group, right? Like if you have people joining for only like 1 month, it's not as safe of an environment as well. Like if you have people joining for 3 months, you're like, hey, they're going to be in with us for a while. It's a little easier because we're sharing things. We're sharing the shit as well, right? The stuff that doesn't go well. We're sharing our struggles, the pain, and you need a little bit more of a safe environment to be able to do that.
Exactly. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like something I'm interested in if it's in my price range, and I can't probably pay for anything this month, but next month, because because I'm like, this is my first month here and I've had to pay some unexpected things. Also my rent, I'm having it drop like next month because I realize it's like kind of a high rent here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm okay with like having such a high rent now that I know what it should be. And my landlord's like, okay, we'll drop it. It's like, okay.
That's how things work, right? No, that's okay. Look, so you should know the price because I always mentioned it. I mentioned it in the challenge. Huh?
Something like around 3,000. Was
Yeah.
it something like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was
So
it
I have no
exactly
idea
that?
what your price range is, right? Like I can't assume for other people.
Make payment plans?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Over the over just over the 3 months, so like 1,000 a month.
No, so look, what I usually ask is that someone puts a deposit down for the commitment. Right?
Okay.
And I do have a stamp. So this is the way I work because it's exactly like the one-on-one coaching. Like I can tell you, these are the two options that I generally have. And at the same time, I'm always willing to work with someone who's like, you know what, I'm in, I want to make it work. So we can spread the payments out more or start you with a lower deposit, I'll work with it. Typically, if you want to go on a payment plan, right, it's $2,997, you would pay 1,000 deposit and then 6 payments. So every 2 weeks, right? And I think it's like then 380, something like that, every 2 weeks. Sorry, I can't remember the exact amount when it breaks down to those 6, because my last clients have been paying, in full or also spread out further, right? So it's, but the minimum then deposit, like if you're like, hey, I can't pay 1,000, right? Like it's just not possible. I never
Right.
want money to be a reason for it not to work.
Right.
And I've got people who are like, look, I can't, like you, who are like, I can't start now, but as soon as I get paid, I'm going to start. So what I ask is like a minimum of 20%. And if you're like, oh, I can't do that,
Is that
we'll talk.
good or something?
Huh?
Not good at math. I said, is that like 6 or 7?
It's like 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2,997 to 2,997. So the payment plan does end up like 10% more because it takes a lot more administration on my side. But it is, I can get you the exact numbers with it's 2,997 times 2. I'll message you with but it's about 6, right? As a deposit, 600.
Okay, what was the question I was about to ask? So you said like 3 months commitment. Does that mean that people can stay longer and like participate, or how does that's what you mean by that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a ongoing support, keep applying the stuff type thing.
Yeah, and as you go, so like because it's also a fairly new thing, because before I was only giving a 1-month course. And so people would come in for the 1 month, they would leave, but because that wasn't creating consistent enough results, like I leveled it up, but this group coaching just started in December, right? So it's just been rolling. And I mean, I've plotted out the content. I have content for like 40 sessions, right? Of all the different things, because the same pillars so there's 6 pillars of the Connect program, the same ones that we brought into the challenge, right? Those are the pillars. So all of those topics fall under one of those pillars. So what I do is I cycle through, we go 6 weeks on and then 2 weeks off. So you get like, I say 3 months, but you get more like 3.5 months, because 6 weeks is a good attention span for a lot of people. And then it's like, oh, having a break, or, give room for school vacations or holidays or stuff like that. You take a couple of weeks break and then you come back and we go through another 6-week cycle.
Okay. Yeah.
And that works better. And then you'll get the chance to, because eventually this is long-term, right? There'll be a level 2, right? For the people who are like, hey, I'm already to this point where I'm implementing all this stuff consistently, but I need higher level, right? When you're going from the how-tos to like the practical solutions to the higher level thinking, like to go broader, then that's eventually where the level 2 will be like, hey, I'm good at this, but I noticed that I'm going to hit this, right? So those challenges, that'll be a level up, but that's not in the picture. It's just long-term. So I want to allow people that if they're like, hey, after 3 months, you know what, I'd like another 3 months. I've seen progress. It's working for me and I want more.
Okay.
There's possibilities there. Then I'm not like, oh, after 3 months, you're out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it can add to the like conversation going on. Like if people are hanging around and joining calls and things.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you also get a really nice dynamic actually with people who have been in for like a little bit. And then they can also support the people who are just coming in, or they know where some of the resources are, or when we talked about a certain topic. And so you have more, it's also like, it's going to be a huge resource bank, right? Like all of the sessions that you can at any moment when you're like, that's what I'm going for, that at any moment you're like, hey, I have this issue coming up, that you can go back and you can find the session that particularly applies to your situation.
Okay. Yeah.
And not only, but I also, I know the session recordings are like an hour to an hour and a half, but I also upload the slides. So if you're like, hey, I only have like 10 minutes, I just want to click through and see what it was again, the slide decks are all there as well.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
think you
that
can, yeah, you like
price range
details?
for me.
Sorry?
They're around $600 is doable for me if like I know, like if it's not mid-month and I know like the next payday I can decide what do I want to put money to, because like, you know, I've already done things for this month.
Kelsey, I'm going to work with you, right? Like, this is not, I'm not going to put you in an automatic payment system that you're like, oh my God, I can't pay my rent because of this, right? Like when you're ready, like to pay the deposit, then we'll work out the like, hey, when do you think you can pay these? What's a good date to do that? Right? And I'll work with you, right? Like, I get that there are also base needs like your rent and the food for your kids. And there's never no way I would be the kind of person that's like, oh, you're 2 days late because you need to feed your kids, like you're out. That's not how I work. Right? Like, this is one of my core values, is also just like care. And I want to, like, if you're in for this, I want to make sure, like, and if you're also coming like halfway through the program, you're like, crap, like something unexpected came up. Can we delay the payment a little bit, or can we work on it? Like, just reach out and we'll talk about it, right? It's not, this is a human program. This is not a, like, you sign up for an automated system and the automated system says no, and then you get a debt collector. This is not how I do things.
Great. That sounds great.
Cool. So when should I check in with you then about this?
So definitely as far as like paying March, the beginning of March.
Yeah.
I get paid out on the 1st. So I'm not the kind of person that can make payments every 2 weeks. I'd have to make like double that on the 1st.
Sure.
I like to pay everything on the 1st of the month and then like not have to worry other than like my food and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the beginning of the month is good for me.
Yeah, beginning of the month and March. So I'll just check in with you then at the beginning of like maybe just right before March and be like, hey, are you still planning to do this? And I'll give you like a breakdown of what the payments would look like. And then I can onboard you, right? Like, this is, so how it would work is if you're like, yes, I'm in, when that deposit comes in, you're also going to get like a link to some journaling questions about what this means to you, a starting assessment. You'll be added to the Facebook group and we'll welcome you to the Facebook group. You'll get the links, right, to book your one-on-one with me, and the links for like how to join the sessions and what time they're at. So you'll get all that information like with the deposit. And also like what your payments are going to be like, and all that practical stuff, then will happen then. But it sounds like you're a yes. It sounds like you're like, I want to do this.
Yeah, I feel like I can't not do this. Like, this is like something that I need, like my whole family needs, you know. And it's a like, very important time for me, you know, like when I'm with the baby coming, like now you understand. Yeah. I couldn't remember if I told you, because some people I tell, I'm not like out about it on Facebook, like my family doesn't know. But that's just because like they're kind of can be judgmental, be like, oh, another kid, you know, type.
I would have had 5. I would have had 5. My husband was like,
wasn't
no.
sure if you knew or not, but yeah, that's a big fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we were talking over each other.
You never know. Like me and you.
Go ahead.
I can't even remember. I was saying, yeah, like even I'm not even sure if this is my last one. Like, I don't know. I'm just not like, I'm not a planner when it comes to kids, which my family's probably terrified about.
Cool. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you to go for this?
The parenting.
Yeah, to invest in yourself, to invest in your parenting and your future, like to be that like calm, harmonized mom, like have this future that looks very different than where you're at now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna make a huge difference. It's something that I really need, like deeply need. Like, I don't know if you like believe in astrology at all, but my boyfriend, he's an astrologer and he teaches it. He does sidereal. And in my chart, I have a specific block in the children, in the area of children, where it's like almost like a life lesson I'm supposed to learn. It's like I have this block there that I have to get past.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's interesting to me. Like it's like that is my life, is that I have these kids and I keep having kids and like I have this block and like I can't connect and I can't like get on their level and I have all my hang-ups and triggers and trauma.
Okay, that's the thing that, right? That's what's stopping you right now. That like meaning what I'm hearing then underneath it, like what this means is actually like investing in your future.
Yeah, and it's more like a soul purpose for me. Is what I'm getting at. It's like I'm working on my soul's like journey and lesson.
Yeah.
Where it goes.
Nicely put. Soul purpose and journey. I flirt with woo. I flirt with woo woo, right? Like it's I have this.
What?
I flirt with woo woo, like like on the one side I'm like super practical, like researcher, like very much into like science and the methods, and on the other side like I became a Reiki master and it's all about like energy healing and stuff like that. So I have this like
because I was totally like, I'm still kind of like that. And if you're like, if a person seems like they're too on that one woo-woo side, I'm like, no, like I don't know. I have a weird
similar. You're similar. I like it. Astrology has always been really fascinating. What?
I'm a Capricorn. They're very science-based, like facts. So
cool. Hey, awesome. So I hear soul purpose and investing in your life's journey.
Yep. That sums it up.
Cool. Hey, I'm excited to work together. I'm excited to see you grow. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm looking at my agenda and I will then say, hey, March is starting, like, how about I get in touch then like the beginning of that week that starts with March, and we can discuss actually the end of so let's see, around the 25th, I'll get in touch of this month because our sessions are on the Wednesday, right? So then we can have everything set up already by this, if you want to jump in the 2nd of March, for example, right? Would be the first session.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to arrange it that way, or would you like, hey, no, let's push it a week and I'll start on the 9th. I'm just looking at like, hey, when are you planning to start?
Yeah, I'll probably start like right when I can pay, which is like 1st or the 2nd, whichever day we end up. There's really no reason to wait because I like to just pay whatever I'm gonna pay,
And then you deal with the money that's
so
left.
unless I can't pay this in March and I have to wait until the next month for some reason, that would be the only thing that could happen, is that I'm like, okay, this month I have to pay this other thing. But right now I'm thinking I'll be good.
Okay, let's check in. I'll check in with you like the end of this month, right? Around the 25th. And we'll just say like, hey, are you still planning to start? If yes, then let's get you started on the practicalities. But other than that, I want to round this off more with like hey, soul purpose and working on your life journey. And it's going to be amazing to work together.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you. I'm so glad that you added me on Facebook.
Yeah, me too. Who knew, right? Like it's the
I've been looking like a lot on Instagram and stuff. Like there's a lot of parenting coaches, and I was like, the same thing was happening to me with a therapist. Like I was like terrified to find a therapist and the coach, like, because you never know who you're going to align with, and it doesn't really matter like how much they know or what their credentials are, as much as like if you relate to them or not, or if you like, you have to kind of like them. Like it's a whole different scary thing of like, yes, there's so many therapists that have whatever degree. It's like, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna like reach me. You know what I mean? So I had a lot of fear surrounding. That's why I was saying I was looking for one, but I couldn't find one because I was like, not sure.
I think when you do put yourself on that frequency, hey, I'm looking for this thing. Just being that specific kind of puts that vibrant, right? Like that vibe out. If you're going the woo-woo side, like you put the vibe out there, and then it's up to you to trust your intuition and to go for whichever one. Because I noticed like I'm looking for an assistant now to start supporting me. And all of a sudden, all these like VAs started like messaging me, like, right? Like the same way that I added you, like they're all of a sudden more of them coming into my world because I'm like, okay, I need this in my life.
Right. And I had decided like, I'm just going to like wait and see what happens. Like, I can't just keep like actively looking and being anxious and whatever. And so, yeah, that's what happened.
Cool. Well, I think it's amazing that you could make that choice based on, right? Like, it's also very fascinating that we just had a little bit of a chat, and then that there was enough trust there to come in the challenge, and then enough, right? Then we built the relationship to this. So it's really cool to get that feedback. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Have an awesome night. Go hang out with your kids. We will talk soon. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.